In a body shop, jobs are divided into frame time, body work, and paint work. Today, we're going to focus on the body work portion from the very first step to when it gets sent to the painter. The very first step is to clean or wipe down the whole area that's going to be painted with wax and grease remover, something like this. And this is going to get cleared all the way to the back door there. And we can do the bumper and deck lid later. But for right now, we're just going to wipe this area down that's going to be filled. And then I'm just going to dry it here real nice with a paper towel. And now it's time to grind it clean and prepare it for filler. The best thing to use so that your filler lasts forever, sticks, never cracks, and never falls out is a fiber resin disc, 36 grit or 40 on a grinder like this or even a bigger grinder, and use a slow speed. So we're just going to grind this clean, and anything left we can dig out with a die grinder, or we can even get a smaller wheel than this. If a smaller grinder doesn't cut it, or it's using too much air, you can use an electric grinder like this. Same thing, 36 grit or 40 grit fiber resin disc. Nice and sharp, the filler sticks real well to it. A lot of times after working a dent, you'll notice that you might have an area that pops in and out. The way to fix that is to take a torch and right at the high point, right where it pops in and out, just heat that spot up in about a dime. This is a small area, so we're just going to do a little spot, tap it right in the middle of that spot, and let it cool. got it almost red hot, and we're just gonna tap it right there. And the air just helps it to cool off. It's not really. And once this cools off, that should have fixed the problem. And there we go. No more oil canning. The reason this works can be best explained using this demonstration. Here we have a two-dimensional piece of sheet metal, and we hit it and created a three-dimensional object. This uses up more metal and therefore tightens up the area. The extra metal went down in this hole. When mixing filler, you can either use the metal spreaders or the plastic spreaders. It really makes no difference, just what you prefer. Then you want to mix your filler with a wooden stick, and something that might help you out is to let the air out of this little hardener tube, because there's some juice in there. Let the air out, put the cap back on, and then knead it a little bit. Work all that stuff together, sort of mix it up. And now you're ready to mix. A good rule of thumb for your hardener is however round your amount of filler is, you can stretch a line that goes from one end to the other, or just squirt a. You really can't mess this up. Too little, and it's going to take too long to harden. Too much, and it'll harden too fast on you. And then, this doesn't hurt. Just stir it in there a little bit. People will tell you you're going to get bubbles and stuff like that, but just to mix it in a little bit is fine. And then, you're going to just go around like that. And scoop it up, and then spread it flat. And you can see little air bubbles that come out of there when you're spreading. I'm just going to spread this out. And you want to get all that off of the spreader, that hardener, and get it all mixed in real nice. And then after you do that a few times, you come around like that and scoop it up again. And now we're ready to spread. And I'm going to start down here by the body line because there's a good curve in there. And I might end up using the plastic spreader on this because it's a small area. Right now we're just putting it on thick, but we'll get her. And I have it masked off so I don't get any filler on the window or the paint. And I'm going to use the plastic spreader as this is a tight area. And we'll go with the plastic one now. And this is just going to be the first coating of filler, because I know I'm not going to get it all in one shot. And you can bend this one a little bit to match the contour. And you can spread it out nice and far so you got stuff to work with. I'm bending this sort of follow the contour a little bit. And I'm sort of focusing on this area right here, making sure I got enough in there. I don't want to leave it shallow. And you know, I need to hit this and down here, but right now I'm focused on this. And that should be good. We're going to let that harden up and then hit it with the cheese grater and then 36 grit on a block. You can use a Stanley Sureform or a cheese grater blade to knock it down. So we have a body line that ends about right here, and there's a little body line up here. But we're just going to concentrate on this, because that's, to me, that's the most important part. So we're just going to start knocking it down with this cheese grater blade. And you're just going to drag it across it. I think I maybe let it, that's good. I thought I'd let it harden a little bit too much, but we're good. And if you want to get good at it, you can just start by knocking down the edges. Just the edges. Just the, you know, the clumps. And then quit. And then move to sandpaper. And this will help get this body line dug out. And I'm not putting much pressure on it at all. I'm just and after we get it knocked down a bit, we can move to the block. We're going to use a medium-sized block on this. When you do sand your filler, it's important that you use a fresh sheet of 36 grit or 40, because you want to cut straight through, not ride over. So we're gonna use this medium board, see how it works, and if it's too big, we're gonna move to this. Alright, I'm going to give you a close-up shot of what we actually have here. Now this is the first application, and usually after the first application of filler you can really see what you have right and what you have wrong. Right here you can see there's a little, let's put it like this, you can see there's a little high spot starting to show up. I'm going to have to knock that down. So I use a hammer like this. and then I can feel it, and I might have to go a little more. That's good, and maybe right even here. And we can see there's one right here. We're going to just hit that to make sure. That's good. Now, we have a couple here. One here that looks like it's starting to show up. And it could be high, and it might not be. But I'm going to hit it anyway to make sure we don't have any high spots. So one here, and one here. Just to make sure. I don't want any of that high spots showing up. And then we have something like right here. And we're just going to whack that guy. Make sure he's low too. And now, we do have some low spots. So we have a little bit of a low area here, here, right here, here. And I'm not worried about this or this. Just this right now. After I get this perfect, then I'm going to worry about these areas. After knocking down the high spots, roughing up the low spots, and spreading another layer of filler, we're ready to cheese grate it once more and sand it. And we should be making some good progress this time. And I spread the extra filler that I had left over. I just keep filling it in here, you know, up here, whatever. I'm not worried about that right now, just this. And it is a little bit soft right now, so you know, if it starts to fill your cheese grater blade, you know you have it you're going at it a little bit early. So we'll just keep going at it though. I could stop and wait till it hardens up a bit more, but I'm within maybe, you know, a minute. I'm a minute too early on it. While we cheese grate it, it should harden up enough. We're going to use the little block with 36 or 40 grit on it, and this should do it for this area. And that feels pretty good, and it looks pretty good. We just have maybe a little tiny high spot right there. I think we can get away with that. And now we're going to use the same process for this flat area and for this flat area. At this point, we filled in any remaining low spots, cheese grated it, and now we're going to finish it up. And I'm going to leave this area a little bit full, which means I have some filler left to sand so that when I do the body lines, I have something to work with. Now that we have our flat surfaces where we want them real close, we can work on our body lines. And I'm gonna put a piece of tape right on the side. You can put it up top or the side, it doesn't really matter. And we're just gonna come along here, and it does have a bit of a curve to it. And that should do us right there. If it looks good to you, then you can sand down to this tape line. So I have 80 grit on there, and I'm just going to sand real nice down to that tape line. And I did leave it a little bit full right here on the body lines. There's a little bit of extra filler left there, just to make sure when I did this I would have enough. And that should be good, so when we pull our tape, our body line's going to be nice and straight. We're going to do the same with down here too. And even right here, there's a subtle body line. We can just do the straight parts and then just round it off right there the best we can. And just go right up to the tape line. And then this just is a little round spot in there. We'll see what it looks like when it's primed. And last, we have a little subtle body line right here. We got this side nice and flat, and we're going to tape on this side and sand up to it. When you get the area straight, the next step is to hit it with some 80 grit to make sure you have most of the 36 or 40 grit scratches knocked down. When I get that finished, we'll feather edge the paint, tape it off, and throw a few coats of primer surfacer on it so you can see what it really looks like. Sometimes I like to speed up my DA sanding by using a hog with 40 grit on it around the edge real quick first. Just like that, and then you can hit it with a DA and 80 grit on it, and it goes a lot faster. Now we'll finish up with some 220 on a palm sander. And just in case you're looking for a primer gun, this is the $9 Harbor Freight purple gun, and it sprays primer surfacer pretty well. After 3 coats of primer surfacer, this area is ready to be block sanded, primed again, finish sanded, and painted. I hope you enjoyed this video on bodywork from start to finish. And as always, I'll list the tools and materials in the description. If you did like it and would like to see the paint work done on this vehicle, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.